Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Sisters in Mental Illness vlog that I am doing. I am talking to Nichole Forbes today, who is a part of the SheLoves team and one of my greatest friends. I have Nichole here. She does not have mental illness or struggle with it at all, but she is a very close friend. And because I'm going to be talking today, I asked her if she would interview me so that I didn't feel like I was talking alone. So this is Nichole.
Hi there. Yeah, Shaley and I are good friends, and we've had a lot of conversations about what God's put on her heart to share and how she's living so vulnerably and transparently. And so she asked me if I could step in and ask her some questions. And we had lots of conversations about this, so there might be times where I kind of stop her and remind her some of the things that she said before that I felt were really important. So we're just going to start a little bit with Shaley giving you a little bit of a background of where she is in her journey right now. And we'll get going.
Yeah, so if you're watching this for the first time, I'm Shaley and I struggle with bipolar 2. The difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 is basically that you don't get the full mania or the full depression. So when you're on the scale, they're a little bit closer. So that means that I don't struggle with some of the stuff that they portray on TV, like, buying boats or buying expensive things or engaging in really, really risky behavior. I don't turn to drugs or alcohol because I know that that would be something that I probably could get addicted to. I don't say this because I am more high functioning. I just say this because I'm hoping to shine a light on that, because most people don't know that there's a difference. And the reason I wanted to talk to Nichole today and wanted her to help me focus is because I've fallen into, in the last 2 weeks, into a bit of hypomania. Yeah.
So do you want to explain a little bit sort of your cycle? We were talking about seasonally how this, it's coming to some regard.
Yeah. So I don't regularly rapid cycle between the depression and the anxiety and what goes along with hypomania. I do rapid cycle with something I'll tell you about in a minute, but I have a very typical cycle. So basically what happens is, I'll start with September because that's like my new year because I'm a teacher. So basically end of August, just before the change of summer, it gets worse. So it will go until the end of October or mid-November normally. Since I've gotten my medication, it's much more muted, but unfortunately it's still there. Then around November, I dip and I get really scared that it's coming back. And then I get a little high for Christmas and all the things because it's so beautiful and fun and I love it. And then literally the first week of January, I used to, bam, just go down, down, down. What we were hoping to focus on today is the hypomania, because I think it's something that's really, really misunderstood. And I want to talk about what it's like to be somewhat of the high functioning bipolar 2 with hypomania. I won't be able to show you the full thing because, like I said, I have since my diagnosis in 2010, I have been much more even keel, and essentially I don't get the depression anymore except for situational. My meds, however, do not completely take away the hypomania, and I think that I've been afraid to talk about it almost because I feel like, because I'm so much better, that I don't actually have the right to complain, and I just need to suck it up and live through it, because it's so much better, and I'm grateful for that. But it still has a huge shadow side.
And we're going to talk about the shadow side a little bit more later on, but I want you to talk about sort of how you recognize that a hypo episode is coming on. Like we talked about, you know, that September is coming, but what are some of your triggers, and how do you start noticing either physically or emotionally that these things are amping up in you?
Yes. So since meds, it started in September. Pre-meds, it was literally end of May. There would just be, I would wake up and I would just know. I would just know because, one, I would wake up. When you're depressed, it's very, very difficult to get up. Unfortunately, having children and a job aren't conducive to the hours that I would like to keep, which are 10 until 2 in the morning. So when I get up with my kids and do the things that I need to do, I feel like I'm in a haze. So when I switch to Hypomania, I am up. I am ready. I am chatty. I am Little Miss Sunshine. I'm super annoying, which I think. I even annoy myself. That leads into some nausea. And so in the past, I've taken pregnancy tests, probably a couple years in a row, until bing, I realized that it is common to feel that way. So then I eat terribly because I just crave carbs because I'm nauseous, and that feeds into triggering further, which is lack of sleep. So my creative juices start around 9 p.m. And unfortunately, it is so fun and so beautiful, and I get so excited, and I really have good ideas, and I really do think of things that I can do that I've thought about all winter, but I actually can't put into place, and attempt things that have actually terrified me. I can jump right in. Of course, they're not all good ideas. Since meds, I can tell the difference between a good idea and a not good idea, because when you're alone and you don't speak something out, it's hard to decipher. Another, I guess, trigger or side effect, I think that September is the super trigger, because you go from super chill summer to all the plans and filling out the calendars and changes and schedules. And I love summer best, but I'm also ready for those changes. So I'm super excited and pumped, and I love writing in my agenda, and I do all the things, and really rapidly. Like I can get done in a day probably what someone can do in a week. However, the shadow side to that is that the anxiety that comes along. So after I do such amazing things, or even after I have a conversation with one of my closest friends who knows and loves me, I immediately, or a couple hours later, or maybe the next day, dissect everything I said, because I know I'm hypomanic. So I don't trust myself. I ask people if I'm talking too fast. I check in with people. My normal self-confidence goes out the window, and I feel needy. So I either isolate or obsessively email and text the people I love. I try to spread it out. So I contact all the people because they're on my heart, because I'm thinking so quickly. But then I switch to anxiety, which is, oh my gosh, I actually have to answer back and engage. And what if I sound needy? What if I'm not a good friend? What if I cut them off? What if I'm not tactful? Because honestly, you feel like if you don't say the things in your head, I literally feel like I'm going to be in so much pain, and I just need to run from it. And you know, usually you can filter a lot of those things, and I can filter them better with close friends and even people that I don't know very well that I work with or whatever, because I know they might not love me anyways, and I know there might be consequences to saying exactly how I feel when I'm anxious. One of the other things that comes with it too that I really feel is important to talk about is with anxiety, with me, it presents as worries, like what you see on TV or people talk about, or non-clinical anxiety. But what comes with me and how I present is I am angry. And I can switch like that. And nothing has happened, or there's a trigger, and I am so angry. And it usually happens at home, not so much with my children, but more with like people like my husband or my mom, because I know that they're not gonna leave me, and that they understand. Not to say that I don't hurt them, but they understand. And that feeling of being that angry is awful because I know it's not me. And
So Shaley,
yeah.
can you kind of give us an example of, we're talking about sort of the cycle of your thoughts. So it starts in like a totally normal place,
Yeah.
and it kind of goes around to the place where you end up being angry.
Yes.
So can you explain, because I think as your
Yes.
friend, and when I met you to begin with, you had such high energy, like just more energy than, I mean, most people that I know. And you put that to such good creative use and stuff. But this is my first time actually walking with you through a hypo season. And on one hand, it is sort of funny to watch because your brain is like drinking out of a fire hose talking to you sometimes. But I also understand and I can see the struggle that you have because your thoughts are getting away from you and it's not you driving this. And it takes such self-control for you to rein things in and be able to focus and do the things that you want. Like you're talking about how you do all these things, but they're not the actual things that need to be done. Like you're cleaning out a closet when there's other things that needed to be done. So can you go back and talk about sort of your thoughts that cycle around? And we're going to talk a little bit more about the day-to-day stuff too.
Okay.
That's all important.
Yeah. So, you mean a cyclical anxiety come into my brain. So for example, because there's new things and it's a new year, I start to think of all the things I want to change. So I can start thinking about, oh, maybe I have all this energy. So then maybe I will start to do exercise. In fact, I should exercise all the time. Okay, let me contact about 10 people to see if they want to go for walks. Oh my goodness, is walking good enough? I don't know. Should I walk? Should I get rid of my treadmill because I actually don't walk on it? I'm going to sign up for yoga. Yeah, I'm going to sign up for yoga. I just did. I actually don't want to go to yoga because I actually can't sit still. This is really painful. So what I'm going to do next is maybe another goal can be to eat better. Okay, maybe I should eat organic. Yep. Okay, let's clean out the fridge. All organic. I actually can't afford organic. So maybe I can look up which are the best ones, but then is it a waste of time? But then I can't do it. And then I don't understand how to be completely whatever, GMO free or all those things. So, but I'll buy them anyways. And maybe I'll buy a bunch of vitamins and then I'll be super healthy and I'll be my best self. But I'm spending all the money and oh my goodness, we're going to be poor. I won't be able to buy clothes and we're probably going to lose our house. Bam.
Yeah. And I've been in a conversation where we've gone from, hey, look at this, to, oh my God, I'm going to be destitute and homeless. I'm like, that was fast. So, and your rational self can laugh at that and go, okay, that's all just like over the top. But when you are cycling into high anxiety, that anxiety, for many people, anxiety turns into anger. But because you're amplified, that anger, like you were talking about, and we had said when we were talking the other day that it's hard for you to share some of this because it's so vulnerable and nobody likes to talk about it, and it's not what good church ladies do. But I'm going to tell you, I don't have mental health issues and I can lose it. I come from a long line of overreactors, and so anger is something that I deal with a lot. And so I think a lot of women can identify with that. And so I want you to talk a little bit about how you move through the anger and then what happens afterwards as you're still in this hypo state and dealing with the guilt of your blow up.
Yeah. So I'll have these moments where I'm usually thinking these anxiety by myself. The hardest part is that that people don't understand that it isn't something I can stop. It isn't something that I can not think. I cannot control my brain going to fight or flight or freeze or all of those things that a regular person could regulate. And it feels like I'm getting chased by a bear and my brain is actually producing those chemicals when really I'm thinking about eating organic food and or sometimes just out of nowhere. So I think it's very important to say that actually I'm living my best life. So that's why I'm so mad at myself and feel so ashamed, because I feel like I don't have a right to be angry and frustrated and all of those really evil things. And I feel like people don't understand and I don't understand. And I feel like I was telling Nichole that sometimes I wish I was just totally crazy and didn't know I was crazy. And then everyone else could deal with me and I could just sit in my own world. Unfortunately, even when I'm doing this, my rational mind is telling me, this is not true. This is not true. But you think it anyways, and you feel it all over your body anyways. The sweating, the rapid heartbeat, all of those things. And I am an Enneagram 7 and we seek pleasure and we run from pain. There's a lot of good things, but that's our shadow side. And I think that that's hard for people to understand, because the average person can relate to some of these anxieties. But what you don't understand is that it's to the nth degree for me. And I am, despite being out here and being fun and doing all this mental health advocacy work, I struggle with practicing what I'm talking about sometimes. And I think you should be able to do this. You actually know this is not true. You actually know, in your heart that it's not true. You know, most of your thoughts biblically aren't true. I can end up very angry with God. I feel like having a temper tantrum. Like I feel like it's not fair. And I feel like this is something that in some way I'm going to deal with forever. And so I need to learn to accept myself and do the best I can within it, because I end up stigmatizing myself. The very thing I'm fighting against, I am stigmatizing myself in that I think I should be able to do this. I should be able to control it. Why are you thinking this? You're so lame. Everyone's going to end up hating you. You're going to be all alone. And if I look at the facts, if I be a detective, those things are not true. And healing is not linear. So I feel like I should be at a destination by now. I feel like because things are like 80% better, that that I shouldn't feel like this, or I shouldn't think these thoughts. And it's very hard for me to remind myself that it is a chemical thing, that we wouldn't tell someone that has diabetes to buck up or try and think differently, or you're so dramatic. We see it as an illness. Mine is an invisible illness. So I don't remember the question, but hopefully I answered it.
You did, and I hope that you, those watching, will click the next link, because we're going to talk a little bit more about some of what you said about healing not being linear and stigmatizing yourself. And we're going to talk about what it looks like as you look into the future of how you continue to live, and how some of the things that we talked about the other day. I actually took notes while we were talking on the phone because it was so interesting to me. So we're going to talk a little bit more. I hope you click the next link.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, how are you feeling?
Hold on.